In today's video I'll be presenting you guys 5 short scary tales. Let's see how many minutes you can endure listening to these alone at night. Oh, what's that? You said you don't keep your room dark? Oh, you're not alone? Ha! Chickens, no wonder you are not subscribed to my channel. Anyway, let's start with the stories. My intuition might have saved my life. By OO Cotton Candy 00. I moved to a new house a couple years back, and it's much further away from civilization than my old one. Each person has a couple acres of land, and it's pretty much in the forest, so we often have bears, raccoons, and all sorts of wild animals around. Last summer I hadn't been in the best mental state, so I often went on walks further into the forest to clear my mind. One day my mom's friend had come over with her son. Me and him had been friends for years. As the day passed we got bored, so once it was the evening me and him decided to go on a walk while there was still light. We had walked pretty far and it had begun to get dark. As we began further I had this bad feeling someone or something had been watching us for a while now. I am a very spiritual, so I often trust my intuition. I suggest me and him head back, and so we did. As we walked back and got onto the road where there was house closer together, the street lights had turned on. Walking back I was surveying my surroundings, still having this bad feeling. As I was looking I noticed something different. The garbage cans were knocked over. Everyone kept their trash cans close to the road because their driveways were way too long. I turned to my friend and asked him if they were knocked over before he says no. At this point we figured it may be a bear, and so me and him decided to run back as we were not too far from my house. We arrived at my place safely and informed our parents of our journey, and they had said it was most likely a bear. Not long after my mom decided to drive my friend and his mom home, so I was left home alone because my couple-month-old nephew had fallen asleep. My mom left and this bad feeling came over me again. I had been pacing back and forth waiting for my mom, and shortly after I had given up. I locked the door and had sat down. Shortly after I hear the noise of a cough. My mom had a very distinct cough from being a smoker. I went to the door to greet her, but nobody was there and her car wasn't in the driveway. At this point I started feeling like there was something out there, but had ignored it for a little while. By this point I believe I shut the main door to our house and had locked it. Once again, not long after I hear a car pull in, I go to look in the window, but nothing was there. I started texting my friend informing her about what had been happening. At this point I was pretty sure there was a skinwalker outside my house, and that's what had been following us. I live in an area where skinwalkers aren't uncommon, so I wasn't surprised. Soon I began to hear scratching at the door. It sounded exactly like my dog. I go to look, but my dog isn't near the door and had been lying down. I waited for what felt like forever. QND my mom finally had gotten back, but that whole night I couldn't shake off this bad feeling I felt. This wouldn't be the first weird encounter I've had like this, but I'm almost certain if we hadn't turned around, ran, or if I had gone outside, something bad would have happened. They warned me and I should have listened. By Buttercup_72316. When I moved into this new neighborhood, everyone always subtly, and not so subtly, warned me not to go into the woods. I always assumed it was because of hunters, and I thought nothing of it and ignored their warnings. I never liked the outdoors that much anyways. Over the next week of my unpacking, I met a few people from around there. However, everyone always seemed a little off. Like they were trying to warn me of something but couldn't tell me. One night, I was in the kitchen making tea when I saw a dog running into the woods. I've always had a soft spot for animals, and in a moment of quick thinking, I dashed out the door after the dog. I chased it for a while before getting tired and losing it. I knew I didn't have the energy to look anymore and decided to go home. I started to lazily drag myself back to the house, disappointed I didn't catch up to the dog. I took about 5 steps before sensing something was watching me. I tried to ignore it, but when I saw a glimpse of white cloth and long matted black hair, I sprinted to the house. As I got closer, I could see the reflection of the horrid creature behind me in the window. I tripped over a stone and scrambled to get up. It was catching up to me. My heart raced. I kept running. My feet felt like they were dashing over embers. I knew I had to get away. The house wasn't that far away. I just had to make it there, and I'd be fine. It couldn't get in without entreating me first. As I came upon the house, I could hear its mud-caked gown dragging along the leaves as it tried to catch up to me. I burst through the door and quickly shut it. I look through the window and see its gaunt figure, standing at my door, looking down. It bent down, reaching for the floor. I remembered something. I have a doormat that says "Come in." I raced for the bathroom door and grabbed the cabinet door. As I squeeze into it and sigh with respite, I hear it break through the front door. I gasped and held my breath. That's when it slinked down the hall. It reached the bathroom and crept through the doorway. I can see its gaping countenance looking around. Why would I go out into those woods even after everyone told me not to? I quietly tilted back, not to make a sound. The monster had a menacing mien. Tall and thin with deep, hollowed-out eye sockets. Its muddy white gown lay draped over its gray, washed-out, paper-like skin. Its black plume halo flowed above its wretched head, circling it like a symbol of death. It spoke not a word and hummed not a sound, only crawling throughout the house, wrought gashes in the walls, ripping the pictures to shreds. Soon the inhuman sound ceased, and I heard it leave. I climbed out of the cabinet and saw all the slashes on the walls, the destroyed furniture, and the busted front door. I started to weep. As I turned away from the door, I saw a silky black feather flitting to the ground. I picked it up and set it on the only undisturbed shelf. That week I moved out. I'm writing this from my new house in the city. Everyone is acting weird and avoiding my house, and I'm not sure why. Shadows by kaiDOTcomm. The dark is seen as many things. The forest with fog early in the morning is the image when I picture darkness. It's peaceful, calming, serene even. Though, the moment you're in actual darkness, your mind turns those shadows you know are just your clothes into something unimaginable. You see a woman in the corner of your room, but you know it's just your fan. You see a creature only seen in the most horrendous horror movies at the edge of your bed, but you know it is only your blanket. You see a little girl, knees to her chest in the corner, but it's only a shadow. Right. It's only your imagination. You see the shadows once seen as only shadows, now as little girl curled into a ball rocking herself while mumbling. It's only shadows. It's just the mind playing tricks. It can't be real. Right? Heavy breathing, sweat dripping down your temple. This can't be real. It's not, this isn't real, it's just shadows. It's your mind, your imagination. They all stare at you. The creature at your bed, loudly panting, the little girl mumbling louder. One corner to another, eyes darting everywhere. So many monsters. You start to breathe rapidly, tears welling up in your eyes, throat dry, choking on your tears, covering your ears from the noises. The loud panting from the creature, the little girl's mumbling louder than before, the woman breathing. Noises all loudly echo throughout your mind, no matter how much you cry and scream for it to stop. No matter how much pressure you put on your ears to block out the sound, it doesn't go away. but you know it's just your mind playing tricks, your imagination, shadows. If you enjoy listening to stories like this, I'd like to let you guys know that if you have any spine-chilling crazy stories that you want to share with the listeners, you can send it over to horroxperiencemedia@gmail.com. I'll also have the link down below in the description, so don't worry, you will be able to send your story after you've finished listening. I Saw a Face in My Closet by Educator Federal 4016. It was a Tuesday at around 9 p.m., and I was laying in my bed talking to my friend on Snapchat for an hour. Then I finally decided to go to sleep. Then after sleeping for about an hour and a half, I woke up to use the bathroom, which is normal. Then when I was done, I laid in bed. Then I saw a distorted human face in my closet. It was super skinny and its skin was almost gray. I knew it was real. It just looked at, and we looked at each other for like 2 seconds. The scariest 2 seconds of my life. And I was so scared, but then it said to me in a distorted voice, "This isn't the last time." Then it just disappeared. That morning I looked in my closet and found a wet footprint on the carpet. I've never been so scared in my life. Hopefully that thing doesn't come back. Cursed Watch, True Story. By Military_Maniac. My uncle is a plumber and he always finds all sorts of cool stuff while doing work on inner plumbing, walls, crawl spaces, etc. He's found guns, swords, knives, and antiques. One day he gives my dad a Rolex he found in an apartment he was hired to clean out after the renter was evicted. When I tell you shit really went downhill after that watch came in our house, it's an understatement. First incident was, all of our items would just go missing randomly and end up in really weird spots. For example, a different watch had gone missing, and we found it hanging from a window hook in a totally different room. Okay, someone just misplaced it, right? Just a coincidence? That's what we all thought too. This happened when I was about 8 or 9, and my brother was 6 or 7. We both went down to the basement, and out of the blue we hear a voice that sounded like surround sound almost call our names in this sinister sounding voice, and we both heard it. We looked at each other and hightailed it upstairs and told our parents. They didn't believe us. Third incident, I'm sitting in the basement on our couch watching TV, directly under this very heavy mirror that is on top of a wall-mounted heater. I hear a moaning sound, then the next thing I knew I felt this huge mirror slam on top of my head. I screamed so loud my mom came down, and she immediately started saying that's been there for 5 years, and it's never fallen. Why would it fall now? It's that damn watch, I know it, there's something going on there. She called my uncle and he took it back and nothing ever happened again after that. That was all for today. Glad you guys listened till the end. Don't forget to like the video and share with your friends. Also send in your own scary stories at horroxperiencemedia@gmail.com so your work can get featured in my videos. You can find the link in the description. Subscribe for more similar stories and see you guys in the next video.